Now let's bring our viewers a little closer to the grassroots. You've highlighted the paradox in the states like Osun, where billions are allocated to travel and food, while only a fraction goes to education and healthcare. What does this kind of budgeting reveal about leadership priorities and the value placed on human development? And while we're talking about that, I didn't want to do this, but I'm forced to do it. So while you're answering, I'd like you to think about it. The fact that so many governors are also seemingly aligning with the federal government. And that's partially because of some of the things that they have done.
Well, let me say this. When there is a disconnect between those who govern and the persons they govern, it becomes is easier to find the evidence when you look at the budgeting. In a state like Osun, that's my home state. It's a very poor state in terms of federal allocation, but it's a very rich state in terms of human and material resources. But unfortunately, it has always been bedeviled by people with limited imagination. The only thing I would have expected of the current governor is maybe a dancing competition for the state, but unfortunately, he has not even thought fit to make the state a destination for dancers. But he appears to have found the capacity to travel a lot, and the glutinous ability and capacity of the persons in that state appears to also be evidenced by the sizes of the persons who are in governance in that state. From the governor to the speaker to everybody in that state, they appear to be quite glutinous, because if not, how is it possible to explain a situation where a state like Osun has spent more on air travel and feeding than on primary health care, than on education in the tertiary institutions, and there are persons in that state who have not received their gratuities and pensions, and that state is spending so much to service debt, but it still has enough money to be gallivanting all over the place. Look, it might very well be that there are clear arguments to be had for these travels, but surely the proportionality is suggestive of a governor who is disconnected from the people to the point where, instead of appealing to the people in order for them to vote him into power, he finds it easier to jump on the APC train, so that once you don't need the people, you don't have to do anything for them. If the monies that are being spent on air travel and feeding had been spent on improving primary education in Osun, on improving the rural communities and providing them primary health care centers, those people would have come out to fight for him to ensure that the federal might of the APC would count for nothing. So the question you asked as an adjunct to the first